basically the same setup, so I'll probably go with the OPI.
You say they're virtually the same?
Yeah, it's basically the same setup, so. And I say, I'd probably just go with OPI, they're cheaper, and also already deal with them anyway on stuff, so.
Same thing. That'd be fine. I make a motion that we let Ryan go ahead and purchase a computer from OPI.
The second, move and second, we have Ron go ahead and these computers, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Alright, that's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anybody got anything else right now? We recess then, if somebody comes in.
$960 that I can spend, so we're gonna update the computer. The other thing is, a while back, we bought cots and bedding and stuff with pan flu money. And the lodge had told us that if we did that, they would match it, so they brought us a check for $1,616. So we can buy 30 more. If anything would happen, but from the bills, I think. So we'll go ahead and do that too, I guess.
You should store in their plugs too.
No, they're stored right now in the old ambulance building out behind the garage, but I don't know if they're gonna go to the building or the other way. To store them. Told you it would take very long. I looked at that a lot the other day. I had to go to Greensburg to a meeting. Nothing's changed, so, Carl had written a letter to the owner. So what next? She approached the gentlemen that are buying it from the owner.
And I think that changes daily. I don't know, but something needs to be done, that's
It's bad.
mess.
It's getting worse. It was
It's
worse.
a mess.
It was worse Thursday than it was the last time I looked at it.
I don't know what you do.
Well, there's, if there's 6 inoperable vehicles on it, which there is, and it takes 4 to make a junkyard, you guys are just gonna have to press your zoning rules, right?
I don't know whether Carl's got a chance to go and look at it or not. Last time I talked to him, he hadn't.
Did I not?
Was it city or county?
It's a county, it's right outside the city limits.
Kinda
Just,
like that thing at Stafford, just on the other side of the road there at Stafford.
it's,
Carl, what days is Carl here anyway? Is he
I
here
don't
today?
know. He wasn't down there when I first came in, because I was gonna ask him about it again.
Yeah. I'll check or double check, okay, because I wanted to know what happened to that one at Stafford.
That's a pure mess up
Yeah,
there.
it's not very attractive. The goats are out.
And then the other end of town, Jesse Ortiz got that horse pen built out there. And then we got that next Mexican right there, right next to it.
So, anyway, that's all I got.
All right.
All right, thanks a lot.
When recess. That is,
Oh, this is it's kind of a reprise what we talked about in the hospital. Sometimes when you have it in writing, it helps you, keep track. Nothing you haven't heard before. The one thing I wanted to ask the board today, and I think I dropped off copies with Nita, is on this worksite utility vehicle thing.
Yeah, I've got it right here.
Okay. I'm not quite sure if they're gonna be running on county roads, why you would want them to be unregistered. That makes no sense.
I don't see
Because that's how, you know, the registration is how you make sure, one, there's insurance, and two, that the taxes have been paid. In a sense, you're creating a little tax loophole here.
Well, it said to have liability insurance on them, right? City's contemplating passing ordinance allowing these towns, if they are registered at City Hall, have liability insurance.
But what they're asking us is, are we gonna let them run around the county of Stafford? It's kind of buried in the middle there.
Around 50 to 60 miles an hour.
In other words, they're gonna be somewhat like, I'm trying to picture what they'd look like. I mean, I've seen them before. There's a tractor dealership up on 156 that has them.
Well, I think, is
They
that
look like, it looks like a narrow
pickup?
pickup truck, is the best way to describe it.
Oh, I've seen some.
Yeah,
Sitting
that,
out
down
here
by
with
Pratt,
Dodsons.
down by
So
Pratt,
Dodsons.
or north of Pratt, there's one of them, some of those.
The ones I saw had a little cab on them, which would hold basically one person. And it was like a little mini dump truck where you could carry stuff in the back and obviously.
Yeah, I think some farmers got something they use to build fence with. But not rather than ATV, they're using those, they're four-wheel drive, I think, or the two, they use them to build a fence with and stuff.
I didn't catch the brand on them, but I saw there was 2 or 3 of these things for sale. I'm like,
Yeah, if I see something going to Pratt, they go somewhere for sale.
Yeah, I saw them down at Pratt.
because the beauty of a license plate is, you know, it forces people to come in and pay their taxes and present their insurance. The cost of the license plate, I'm trying to think what that is. I don't know, because I have to register 4 vehicles this month. I'm thinking the license plate itself is what, around $10 or $15 or something? And the rest is your personal property tax. So the biggest problem with allowing unplated or untagged vehicles is, how do you know you're getting your taxes?
Aren't these taggable?
Well, they particularly want us to find that they're not subject to license plate tag requirements. See, the Kansas Department of Revenue hasn't addressed the issue of what to call these things, because they're new on the market.
If they're, I mean, it's not gonna be real expensive for them to tag them, I wouldn't say.
That's what I was
Go on,
thinking.
please.
And like Joe said, then at least we know. what-
Because, obviously, you don't wanna create a whole class of vehicle where people don't have to pay property tax, because all of a sudden you'll see these things being used for lots of other things besides, say, building fence or, you know,
Yeah,
distributing feed to cattle or whatever. So, I think I can craft a response to Mr. Nathenberg. What I'll do is I'll draft it up and have you look at it next
Okay.
week.
okay.
Well, it says here they cannot be registered by the motor vehicle
Well, the state,
department of
well,
Kansas.
the state hasn't decided yet. So they're trying to push have these things declared farm vehicles. Obviously, there's a tax exempt status for that.
Then why would you want one to run around town here? If it's a farm.
See, people will abuse anything.
Absolutely. And I think that's asking for the abuse.
Yeah, the Kansas Department of Revenue moves slowly is the best way to describe the Kansas Department of Revenue. Yeah, for example, I think on the 13th of November, there's a series of hearings involving our county, Stafford, over in Reno County Courthouse, and looking at year at issue 2006, 2005, here's a good one, 2003.
That's three.
I mean, I have to look at that one, something tells me their tax protest might be a tad late. But I will, like I say, craft a response to that. And so far, it's been nice and quiet here. The clerk of the court, or somebody's all wound up about, oh, we spent so much money on court-appointed counsel, but I think the one thing that can be done to prevent overspending there is get rid of these child needed care cases. Those are cases that seem to be pushed by SRS and its contractors, and one reason is they get paid by the case, the contractors do. And those cases tend to be monsters in the sense that they take on a life of their own. They can exist until the child turns 18, so every year you're rolling the case over. You're having 2 or 3 required hearings a year where you have to have all these court-appointed attorneys. We've been trying to, looking for a good verb here, prune these child needed care cases. Barton County has a tremendous financial problem because they've had over 125 of these child needed care cases filed this year alone.
Wow.
Well, here's, if you are bored and want to hang around till like 3 o'clock today, we have a hearing in a child needed care case. I guarantee you there'll be a whole crowd of people and they'll say, where are these people? They're all the SRS contractors and subcontractors and whatnot. We had it last time we were here, everybody was at, who are all these people? They all work sort of for SRS, but they all seem to have a vested interest in having lots of court appearances and lots of cases. And the one today, and actually here's the interesting thing, 2 years ago, they changed the child needed care code, and prior to that, everything was confidential. Now it's all open record. I'm not quite sure why they did that. But in any case, you have these cases, and some of them are very legit and necessary, but others are, I mean.
So they're all open right now?
I mean, a truancy situation does not always equal a child in need of care case. At least not in my mind. And I mean, if you have something where the kid is just, flat out never gonna attend school because, whatever, that's one thing, but if they just are, habitually late, or, they miss a day, because truant is, I think, what is it now, 3 days and a quarter or whatever. I forgot what it is. You can really go overboard with those, because I got a truancy report from each of the school districts here. I'll have to trust the school district to get after, because hiring not hiring, but having the county pay for 2 or 3 attorneys per truant.
Yeah, see where you go.
See, the big mistake the legislature made 2 years ago is they pretty much said, well, gee, everybody gets a court-appointed attorney. Before, judges had a lot more discretion. In other words, the legislature was looking at probably some of the more wealthy counties, Johnson, whatever, And not taking into account the fact that, you know, we don't have budgets like that out here. And also, with the paucity of lawyers, we're paying, you ready for this? We're paying for lawyers to come in on some of these cases from as far away as Dodge City.
Wow.
So it gets pretty high ticket prices and stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing that puzzles me no end. Apparently, all lawyers are fat and happy in Pratt because there's not one on a, you know, we're willing to take a court appointment up here, so, you know, we can't go south. We go north to Barton, Great Bend. Hutchinson, there doesn't seem to be any hungry attorneys, or at least ones who want to drive out this way. We can't go east, so we tend to go west. We have a couple people from Larned on the appointment list, but we've had to go further when there's a conflict or something. It's interesting.
But anybody can have a court-appointed attorney.
Oh, yeah, in those child care cases. It's ridiculous. The last one I did here, where we had a trial, there were 7 attorneys, counting myself, so myself plus 6 other attorneys, and only one was retained, that was the guy from Hutchinson there. So we had 5 court-appointed attorneys. And so I dread those cases, just like I dread going to the dentist, you know, for a root canal or something. But that's the one thing we can work on to, you know, kind of staunch the bleeding, because I can't imagine what Barton County's gonna do. I've talked to their county counselor, Richard Beckman, who's well aware of their problem. I said, well, one reason is your county attorney's office needs to learn to say no to SRS. I mean,
So this is just kind of an itinerary here, but we're supposed to,
well, it's just, you know, some points that we, you know, went over
how it's gonna fall into place.
last week, and, you know, just, you know, it's, always nice to have, like I said, a little crib sheet.
Right.
At least I find it so. I'm always forgetting something.
Okay, now, this board, Joe, will they appoint or will it be elected?
That's the
That's your
decision
decision.
you guys will get to make. This is not something you learn in law school, this is something you learn just watching human behavior in small town government. If you start out, if you have an elected board, initially you'll have a whole bunch of candidates, but 5 years down the road, will you still have as many potential candidates? Always think about how difficult it is sometimes to get somebody to run for township trustee. After the novelty wears off.
So your opinion would be,
Well, that's one of several factors to consider. If you have an elected board, it's probably easier to get people to run if you have at-large seats, where you might be painted into a corner if you have seats that are, say, tied to a geographic entity such as a commissioner district, but it has to be elected. Because, you know, that's where you might have, one person of dubious virtue running unopposed.
Well, I think surely we can, people that has experience being on boards and stuff, would be probably the best candidates.
Because if, for example, you're gonna have a situation where, you know, this is just arbitrary, we'll say, five seats, 1 from each commissioner district, 2 at large, probably it's a good idea to have an appointed board, so you don't have the one commissioner district where they're just in a race. There's nobody serious, you know, putting themselves forward as a candidate. Yeah, that's always a thing to consider. It's you can have like I say, a dubious candidate running unopposed. And also for expenses too, in the election, you might want to consult with Nita about if you're gonna stagger terms, how you want that set up, because all county clerks can tell you horror stories about these little municipal elections or school board elections where, you know, there's 2 or 3 races, but they still have to send ballots out almost countywide. It's,
And it'd be more expensive if we have,
I think you want your terms to kind of correspond with the statewide count, you know, elections.
I mean, but if you have election, the appointment will have an expensive election then too, that's minimal plus that, for the cost of the hospital.
Well, the hospital one, you can't compare to this one because we can't do it mail ballot.
It can't be mail ballot.
You can't elect a candidate on mail ballot.
Only questions.
Only question, so you'd have to have it full-blown, that does cost us some money too.
5,000 or 6,000.
And what would be your recommendation on a number, 5 or 7?
You could do 7. I think I've seen hospital districts typically 5 or 7, and for whatever reason, if you want, I suppose you could do 9, but to me, that's like creating a monster.
Yeah.
I think 7 would be big enough.
Yeah, I do too.
And there's no requirement, if you have 7, you could do 2 appointed from each commissioner district and 1 at large. I mean, or you could do 1 from each commissioner district and 4 at large. I mean, there's no, you know. That's, like I say, it's something to think about between now and January.
Yep. Okay.
Because I'm not a big fan of making, you know, decisions at the last minute because you're under a time deadline.
I agree.
I don't think it necessarily improves the quality of your decision.
Probably not.
Well, I'm gonna wander upstairs and see what awaits me in district court this afternoon. I'll be here pretty much all day. I have the exciting child in care case at 3 if somebody wants to see how our tax dollars are truly going down the drain. Because somebody's gotta be paying for all these SRS people or whatnot who show up. I don't think they're showing up, you know, free out of the goodness of
No
their
doubt.
hearts. And to me, it's just interesting because there seems to be more and more. You gotta remember, I've been doing these child care cases since 1981, 82. So just when I thought I'd do it all, I'm seeing new stuff.
Okay,
And that new
thanks.
stuff.
Sure.
Will we recess?
Spare time?
Do you not?
Yeah, all this thing.
Yeah, you do.
I'm trying to figure out what is important.
Did you get graduated?
I did. That's probably the first thing, I guess. I did the last 2 weeks. I've been driving back and forth to Jefferson or Yoder, wherever, and that's over.
So you're a full-fledged graduate,
Yeah,
got your diploma and everything.
got a diploma and everything. Actually, graduated top of my class. Believe it or not. So that's all done. So that's why you haven't been seeing me. I guess the biggest thing that's going on, in the last couple of weeks that's come up, you know, we've been trying to get a paramedic here besides me, and we had talked about, I think one of y'all suggested, I can't remember who, you know, that we look internally, and so far we have we've got 4 people that are either volunteers or full-time EMS people that are interested in going to paramedic school. It's a 2-year commitment. It's enough hours that it's an associate's degree. And, in order to try and drum up interest or, get these folks to go, what I've talked to him about doing is having them sign a contract that we'll put them through school if they commit to stay here and work for us for a minimum of 3 years. And the response to that has been pretty favorable. We actually had 7 people interested, but I think we've got 4 that are gonna. I didn't sit them down and try and talk them out of it, but I sat them all down and just to make sure they understood what a commitment it was, and the terms that we would all be agreed to. And I wound up with 4, and I think I'm pretty excited about it.
Where would they go to school at?
It's through Barton County Community College, but the class that they would be in actually would be in Pratt. To be at the Pratt Community College campus. They got a partnership with Barton County. Pratt doesn't teach any EMS classes. Barton County teaches them on their campus. So it'd be down there, but it's through Barton County. And I mean, it's expensive. I mean, to put somebody through this probably costs $8,000 maybe. It's a lot more than an EMT class. But to me, even if we can only wind up with 2 more paramedics, we're way ahead of the game. So I'm
Now,
interested in doing that.
is these evening classes, day classes, or what?
The one that starts in January, if I remember correctly, is Monday and Wednesday nights from 6 to 10. And, I'm sure if we waited till the spring or something, that there probably would be another one. Some of them are day classes, I don't know. One of the draws for the timing on this is I had enough people that were interested that we kind of kicked it around and figured out how to do this where they can all go at the same time. Because
It'd be the evening class, it'd go, that, I guess my question is, there'd still be, if they're already out there, they'd still be at, where they're accessible for being on call during the day then?
I think so, and really that's one of the benefits of adding people like we did, because the community doesn't see any difference. I guess maybe I'm the only person that really sees a difference, because I know before where I'd wake up every morning and think, well, if we have a big wreck today, I don't know what we're gonna do. I don't do that anymore, because I've got, if you count me, which it's kind of not really good to do that because I need to be able to be doing other things. But if you count me, we got 2 guaranteed crews every day. It doesn't matter where anybody else is, we have 2 guaranteed crews every day. And the good thing about doing that is that with it being an evening class, it's not really going to affect that.
Yeah.
We're still going to be able to have our coverage, and I'm pretty excited about it. Obviously the biggest reason I'm here to talk to y'all about it is the cost, because it's going to be expensive. Because it's something that's not within our budget. Now it's within our budget to do that easily. And I think it's a good use of our education dollars.
If we have somebody local, but more apt to stay here if they're local, I think.
I agree.
Somebody, it's gonna be expensive anyhow. If we hire somebody that's already a paramedic to get in on board, we're gonna be paying
And there's
more salary on that.
it kind of goes in phases. There's parts of the paramedic class that are like paramedic 1, that's 4 credit hours, and paramedic 2, that's 4 credit hours. But then there's a lot of other classes too that they have to have, like medical report writing, anatomy and physiology for the medical provider. And so when you add it all together, it's about 2 years. And I'll tell you right now that there's some funding sources available out there that I'm gonna try and get to.
Some grant money.
Yeah, some grant money to pay for this. It's competitive, so I can't promise that I can. And the hospital, I get them confused. It's either the hospital board or the hospital foundation board, one or the other here, has expressed interest in paying for people's education in the past. And so I'm gonna probably talk to them the next time they meet and see if they'd like to help out. But I'm pretty excited about it.
Maybe the outbills, they quite a bit.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, there's some folks here to help us with it if we need them
For the
to,
community.
but I'm excited about it, and I'm gonna let y'all know what's
That was
going
good,
on.
it sounds,
Um, The next thing that I wanna bring up too is just, it's pretty preliminary, but I'm starting to put some ideas together and talk to a few different people with the state about what we can do to put expanded fire and EMS building here, whether that be a new building or whether it be adding on to the one we have now. I'm just trying to get some preliminary information on which one of those two options is gonna be more cost effective, because that's gonna change which grants that we would be eligible for.
there's those grants, but you said that, what, we add on to the building we got out there?
Yeah, that's a possibility. It falls into two different programs, depending on which way you go with it. So I'm trying to get a little preliminary information and see what's gonna be the best bang for the buck on doing that. I guess I'm not really asking anything, I'm just letting you know that I'm looking at
Big
it.
building out there, are you still in plans to have it painted, maybe?
Yeah, yeah, and that's, I think, is gonna be inevitable. I mean, we're gonna, anything we do to that building is gonna be a little ways down the road. And between now and then, I think it still behooves us to
Yeah,
clean up what we've got,
make it look nicer, didn't you?
because it's kinda rough looking.
Yeah,
So,
I think so too.
but
It's just expensive to paint.
it's, I don't know, it's a good problem to have, that we don't have enough room now, because it means that we've got our full-time people out there now, and the two that we hired are doing an excellent job. I mean, our productivity is up so much, but we got two people that don't even have room for a desk to put their stuff. And at the same time, the problem you run into is, we've still got some volunteers that wanna work during the daytime. And one of them I know of that drives in from out of town, and whenever she's here, I really don't have anywhere to put anybody, because it's just so crowded. And, I think I said once before, we got that mini storage across the street that the bank used to have, and we're cataloging all of the fire and EMS equipment that doesn't fit in the building. Before, it was just scattered out in different places, and we're inventorying it and assigning it a serial number and keeping track of stuff, so.
It's pretty close right across the street there too, worked pretty good.
It is, it works really good. I mean, you raise the door and go in, and I had one of the full-time people spend a couple days just building the shelves. And so we've got shelves that line the whole thing, and you go in, and it's kind of like Walmart for firemen, because you go in and we've got all the nozzles here, all the bunker coats and pants here, and it's arranged by size. So if we get somebody that needs something, we can go straight to it. And we always know where our stuff is. It's not just getting scattered around like the problem was before. So as far as the building goes, I guess just y'all come up with any ideas or think of anything that you think might be something I should check into, just let me know. And then I guess I have one more thing too. I read the minutes from the meeting when I was gone 2 weeks ago, and something came up about, all I know is really vague terms, that something came up about the memorial funds.
Oh.
Is there anything I need to know about that?
Well,
You've got, I think that, look, I don't know how we found the side possibly that you could just go ahead and
pay them.
just go ahead and you collect the interest off and put it into, that would decide they said.
You're talking about the Toland,
Yeah,
No,
total thing.
or
that
your-
came up too.
right, which
They
one
both
are you
came-
talking about?
I'm talking about the EMS memorial.
Oh,
accounts.
Oh, the different accounts?
Right. There was just something in the minutes about them.
I thought it was just total thing we discussed, wasn't it?
Well, that's a good answer then.
I don't remember.
Good enough
I
for me.
didn't remember talking about anything you missed.
Said that the treasurer had asked about, for a new resolution to clarify the memorial.
Oh,
accounts.
yeah. But Sheback hasn't done anything with that.
Okay. Then I have two issues that I would like to discuss with y'all in a 15-minute session for non-elected personnel.
15.
I make a motion, we go into executive session for non-elected personnel for 15 minutes.
Motion, second. Motion been made and seconded to have 15-man executive session for non-elected personnel. All in favor, say aye. Aye.